Hello there, Golf Freak here, and welcome to my effectively third Let's Play of Baldur's Gate 3. So, I have the multiplayer game where we've entered, as the time of recording, not sure when this will go up, how we have entered Act 3. I have my single player game on Tactician that is getting ready to go into Act 2. And I decided that I didn't want to go with a Dark Urge playthrough because it is content I would like to see. I also wanted to try introducing mods into the game on top of that. So, we're going to go through my decisions. So first off, we're going to go Dark Urge, and Dark Urge lets you play as anyone. And at this point, I should hope it's not spoilers, but there's kind of three ways you can play Dark Urge. There's effectively chaotic, which is do whatever you want at any given point, no regard to anything, which is fine, I guess. And then you have chaotic evil, where you're basically just taking most of the evil actions and causing mayhem. And then there's the kind of like redemptive option, where you're fighting the urges, and it is implied through the introduction that that actually is something that your character is inherently trying to do, because you have no memories other than you just really want to kill stuff. So that's what I plan to do, is I plan to play as a redemptive urge. Now, whether or not that actually happens to follow through, we'll see. I'm going to go through my different decisions and doing stuff and why I did. But before that, also, another reason why is the introduction of mods. There should be a mod list down below. And this will be a slightly different from my normal Let's Plays, because I plan to be chopping up footage a bit more than normal, because thanks to a program that is freeware, where you can buy a license called Lossless Cut, I believe. It's a lot easier to merge and cut video, and it can be done in minutes, and it's much easier than putting into like DaVinci Resolve, and it takes almost no resources. So anyway, we'll see how that goes, but I plan to do a bit choppy editing style, so it'll be a little bit fast-paced. The plan is to do this, and once I'm done with Act 1, I do Act 2 with my Drow Gish playthrough, and then do Act 2 with this, and kind of just follow it up and do little, make sure my brain is more or less fresh in what I'm doing. So we'll see how it goes. And I'm recording this in April of 24, by the way, so that's an idea of what upgrades are which. So anyway, I picked Gnome. We're going to go with Gnome because there is a low movement speed, but that's not too big of an issue because my build is going to be based on using ranged attacks. So movement speed isn't a huge deal. And we have Gnome Cutting. So Gnome Cutting is actually really good because you get advantage on Intelligence, Wisdom, and Charisma saving throws. These aren't these don't show up a ton. The only times they would is when you're having a spell cast upon you, or for like a story beat. So I feel this might come in handy for maybe like a dirge thing I have to resist. I don't know, trying to murder someone. That would strike me as more along the line of a wisdom save, but you know, I'm not sure exactly what there is. We're gonna go with Deep Gnome. So Deep Gnome has two bonuses. So the first one is Superior Dark Vision, which means that because I'm going with ranged attacks, we have a slight issue, which is that my range attack is about at least 12 meters. And I need Dark Vision. Superior Dark Vision is really helpful with this because it means that I'll definitely be able to see enemies. I will never suffer any kind of hit issues with my ranged attacks, which is great. And then we have Stone Camouflages. We have advantage on stealth checks. This is actually extremely good for my planet in the future. The only issue there is that I'm not going to hit it until minimum level 7, probably level 8 for it to come into effect, at which point I will also have to respec my Bard slightly to switch my skills a little bit. Now, when it comes to classes, I feel that it is imperative to have a good charisma-based class. And those classes are, in order, we have Bard, Paladin, Sorcerer, Warlock. Those are the 4 ones that actually utilize charisma, and is more efficient to have them instead of randomly picking another class and just sucking at something. So I've played as the Sorcerer in the multiplayer game, and I'm playing as a Paladin Warlock in the Drow Gish. And I originally was going to do in fact I started doing a half-orc playthrough, but I've decided to drop that how it was an honor mode playthrough, but I decided to drop that because it ended up being basically my Drow Gish. It's just a couple levels switched around to not abuse what they allow in Tactician, but not honor mode. And I felt like it was kind of a waste. And while it's cool to run as an orc, it's not particularly good. And speaking of races, actually, I picked Deep Gnome because I thought thematically it made sense for why my character might have ended up originally evil, because he might have had that kind of growing issue where he was maybe ostracized by some, maybe he was because of his race, etc., etc. And also, it's part of the reason why I picked Bard is because I think it also fits really well with Dark Urge, because I feel that even though he is a Deep Gnome, he could very easily just be out and about in Baldur's Gate, and you know, he has a way with words, and he basically, it's not like he's just I'm super evil, look at me, is he gave you kind of like a false sense of security before slicing your throat. So that's why I decided Bard would be a good kind of thematic with Dirge. Going with cantrips, we're going to go Friends because I'm going to be the face, obviously, and Minor Illusion to control some enemies. The other ones aren't too great. Light you can get pretty easily with other party members. It's not a big deal. It's not particularly useful. True Strike is pretty bad except for the beginning of a round, which I think Stealth basically covers that. Vicious Mockery obviously is the Bard go-to, but the issue with that is that it's far more valuable for me to actually just shoot than use Vicious Mockery. So, and not very many things have like a psychic vulnerability, and while the disadvantage on the attack rolls is good, it's not particularly necessary. Spell-wise, Fairy Fire is very important because it does give us advantage on attack rolls against certain enemies, assuming they fail the check. Healing Word is great because it allows for a quick medic fix. It's not particularly good. I would never use this just to heal someone. It's far better to use a potion, have them drink a potion with a bonus action instead. Sleep is great early game. I might switch it out later because not very many enemies will have a ton of hit points, but it's great crowd control. And then Thunder Wave is great for just if there's a bunch of enemies in one spot and you can potentially shove them off the map. I don't particularly like any of the other first level spells. Featherfall we get pretty quickly. Dissonant Whispers is pretty good. This I get in an item that I can freely take off. Cure Wounds is just slightly better, but not at range. Charm Person, I have friends for that. Bane I've never used. Animal Friendship I'd probably never use. Heroism, there's potions for that. Launchrider, we got wizards for that. Two Animals, there's a potion for that. Tasha's Hideous Laughter actually is pretty good. Because it knocks them prone, which would give melee attacks advantage. It's not particularly good though for my build because I'm not actually really going to have a frontline fighter, if that makes sense. We'll go with the violin because I feel it's more diabolical of the instruments available. For background, we have to pick Haunted One, which is I'm really bummed about because it means I'm not going to quite have the skill set I want. We have Medicine and Intimidation. Personally, if I were going to do my skills, I wouldn't care for either of those, which kind of sucks. I would prefer, if I could pick straight up, it would be Persuasion, Deception, Sleight of Hand. Would be and Stealth. Stealth won't come into play until much later, once again until level 7 or 8. But I'm definitely going to respec. For now, I'm going to keep the Sleight of Hand because he's going to be my primary lockpicker. But once we get to that point in the game, I will feel more or less comfortable with another character doing it. Because at that point, we're going to have quite a bit more. Or I could continue doing it. I just want to have proficiency in it. And as a bard, that's not going to be too much of an issue. Though I will be getting expertise. So basically, I'm going to focus on Sleight of Hand for now, then switch this over to Stealth once I reach level 7 or 8, depending. Probably 7. So as for my build, we're not going to go pure Bard. We're going to go Bard Fighter. We're specifically going to go Sword Bard, 10 levels, and then 2 levels in Fighter. That might change, but that's the gist of what I want. I don't think I'm going to do an 8-4 split because I don't think it's really necessary. I'm going to get the extra dex from Ethel, and then I'm going to get Sharpshooter, and then I'm going to get an extra level up into Dexterity to get me 20 dex, which is kind of technically means Charisma's not going to be hit much, but we're primarily going to be using the Flourish, which is the Bardic Inspiration. Now, the reason why we're going to get Fighter is because the Fighter is going to give Action Surge and a quick heal. And once we hit level 5, we get Flourish on a short rest, which is incredibly good. And we get an additional short rest. So basically it's going to be fight, short rest, fight, short rest, fight, short rest, and then fight, long rest. So it's actually a fairly efficient, well, assuming you have a lot of short rest people, which I'm not planning to in this playthrough. We'll see how it goes. Otherwise, yeah, I think we're good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this recording, and we'll pick up in the fight for the control room. Also, I'm naming him Urag Dirge. This is a Dirge being obvious. The reason why I'm separating from Urag being the half-orc playthrough I had. And the reason why I'm inheriting his namesake is because Urag being the half-orc happened to kind of have a minor crisis of morality, which is similar to this. Also, he ended up with a dark elf, so take a wild guess who I'm trying to romance in this playthrough, which will be quite interesting. Which will be interesting given that I'm also going for the good playthrough. We'll see how that goes. Oh, this was a great start to this playthrough. Okay, so here we are at the end of the tutorial fight. As you can see, Commander Zalk is dead. I'm not going to bother to loot him. Lae'zel already has his sword, and I'm not going to risk another round. Basically, all this fight was, first thing I do is I have command with Shadowheart to get Commander Zalk to drop his weapon. Then we use, I could use Fairy Fire on Zalk to make him a lot easier to hit. Then Shadowheart used Protection from Good and Evil to make him even harder to hit, and he's down to about half health by the time we finish him off. These guys haven't been able to do anything. These guys are also probably not going to die because they have fire resistance, which is what the Nautiloid tanks are going to do here. Can I do this? No, I have to run up. So, this is fine because Shadowheart is going to send off Lae'zel, which is something that I find hilarious because I think that's something she would do. And this will also finish off Mind Flayer. That also knocked them down both to 50. We could theoretically try to keep going, but ultimately I don't think any of the loot is going to be worth it. Because I do have an auto loot mod going, I could theoretically run with my character to get close, but we're just going to get out of here.
The Helm's alien transponder. You've made it in time.
And boom. And we get saved by psionic energy. Dun dun dun. It's taking a hot minute to load. Oh, it could be because I have extra mods. And there's also this. That's Druid's Grove. This is the Goblin camp. Usually as I wake up there, which would imply that what actually takes me out is the fall, if that.
You half expected your memories to return once you were free of the Mind Flayer ship. But your past is still an aching void. If you don't find a way to remove the tadpole burrowed in your brain soon, your future will be as blank as your past. Your head whispers vengeance. You cannot wait to slice your way forth, seeking whatever wrought this tragedy upon you.
Hey. Oh, one of the mods I got lets me actually control my characters if I'm using a controller, which is quite nice. And with a button press, I can watch back. It's great. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna level up. And we're just gonna stick with Bard because getting up to level 6 Bard is going to be the most important thing. The only... And once again, I will be taking 2 levels in Fighter. And the only reason I would do that ahead of time, because we want to get to level 7 Bard, I think would actually be better. Getting up to level 7 Bard and then doing Fighter. So first off, we would get a fighting style, which would be quite good, but it's also not really necessary at the moment. It's better that I focus Bard. It's better that I focus Bard to get Sharpshooter earlier, as well as focusing on just getting everything on my stuff faster. So we'll stick with Bard. And that's for first level spells. Featherfall we don't have to worry about because of scrolls. Tasha's Hideous Laughter we don't have to worry about. Yeah, we'll get laughter. I'll keep the rest of everything else, but I can always respec later. That's not an issue. I have an auto loot mod going, which is going to save me a buttload of time. And an auto seller, so that'll be really, really useful.
You're alive. I'm alive. How is this possible?
Perhaps some adequately timed divine intervention?
The Divine tend to keep their interventions close to the chest. Though, I suppose it's not impossible.
You ready where we are?
No, I don't recognize this place. But anything's an improvement on where we just came from. First things first, we need supplies, shelter, and most of all, a healer. We might have escaped, but we still have these little monsters in our heads.
Alright, let's stick together, I
We need each
guess.
other, and we both know what's at stake. Can't think of better company.
Alright, let's go on.
One thing,
I also have a
Just
UI
before
mod
we
that
go.
tells what DCs are and what it does with
I wanted to thank you again
people.
for freeing me. It would have been all too easy for you to run right past my pod. Lead the way.
Okay. Annoyingly.
You drink in the pungent corpse. Since you awoke on the ship, your mind has been cold and empty, but something stirs. With your hands close to this body, you know nothing of why, but you find a half smile flittering across your face.
Okay. Alright, I have Jack of all trades.
As soon as you delve into your mind, it is filled with flashes of 1,000 different dead. There is something unknown and unspeakable deep within your heart.
I'm a mass murderer. Okay, I think that's kind of buggy. H must wait. Guess I have to talk to her.
I live.
Oh, she is
That
covered up.
blesses
Okay, it was
me
hard to
once
tell.
more. Our paths cross again, Istik. I might call it fate, if I believed in it. Neither the Geich nor the crash have broken your spirit. Yes, you may still be of considerable use. The longer the parasite lit together, we...
Careful.
Come, our search begins. We've no time to waste. It is... Githyanki protocol is clear. You have made an ally from Kreshk.
Interesting.
We scout the roads and scan there.
Didn't say she hated that one. Alright. So, actually allowed to... The mod shouldn't do this, but it did. For whatever reason. 2 to 6, but that one, she does 2 to 7, huh? Alright. Good enough. Alright, level up. Lazel, you're only a temporary party member anyway, so we can just keep you going down to fighter, that's fine. And that's also the reason why we went and finished her off, is because she shows up at the beach. Now, as for Shadowheart, I think this playthrough I'm actually going to keep her as a cleric, as this cleric trickery. I feel it more or less appropriate, so I don't need that anymore. I don't need command anymore. I don't need cure wounds. I'm not going to be using water spells, so we'll do Sanctuary is pretty important, Bless is pretty important. And yeah, we'll keep Shield of Faith might be better. Alright, and there we are, all leveled up. We'll definitely be
Where's that blood?
reassigning them. We're gonna go ahead and go to camp. This implies that there is... God, that's really annoying. That there is something to talk about in terms
Lazel has a
of...
dangerous look in her eyes. Let's just hope
What's the
there's
artifact?
no story. None that you... I understand why you ask, but memory loss is not as uncommon as you'd think. There may be other causes. We haven't gone all that far yet. What are you referring to exactly? Must I? Thinking about it won't find a way to... I'm not too hopeful that a Gith crash will actually prove up. I suppose we'd go our separate ways. Not a slight on your... Perhaps. There's someone waiting for me there. Someone I have to reach. Thank you. And you're right. You're not the kind of company I'd... And I haven't forgotten that you saved my life aboard the Nautiloid. Perhaps I'll be able to return the favor at some point.
This is kind of early, isn't it?
No harm in a little mystery.
Oh, look at that.
Thank you. I'm sure we'll get along perfectly well.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure this means I could long rest, but I'm not going to. God, I wish I could just tell that to go away, but yeah.
Chatter already. I understand much more. It is imperative we locate a creche. You do well to observe. Ceremorphosis takes all of you. Mind, body, soul. But our tadpoles are far from ordinary. I wonder if another factor's in play.
I have these urges. I want to kill, I want blood.
Many a good warrior savors the scent of blood in the air. There's no shame in a capricious murder now and again. Too many, though, and you waste energy and dull your weapon. My suggestion, attack with purpose and savor your kills. And if the urge proves too much, well, I'm sure we can find you a goblin or two to carve up. I expect I am your first.
I'm gonna borrow that. Well, actually, no, I don't have any memory, so I never heard your kind.
That large, fleshy nose of yours looks like a mistake.
It isn't that large.
Decadent then, lacking in it like so much of this world and its undisciplined. Yes. Then you start to hallucinate. Your bones will change form. Or
Yeah. 7 days to hell.
To exist. And a mind flayer. Words forged in. We must find. The first symptoms should have long since started, though. Yes. But besides, what hasn't happened?
Alright, so yeah, there is dialogue that will happen. Take a long rest, which I see no point in doing until at least we get a couple more people in the party. I'll go ahead and take a short rest right now.
I feel like one later.
We'll just do a quick run through and get this stuff.
More of the mind flayer's pets.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. They don't think we're enemies. Okay, this is really annoying. Why is it going away? Come on. Why am I not group stealthing? Or am I group stealth?
Eager for battle.
Mostly so.
Softer than a whisper.
Oh, that's nice. I can get rid of the thing. I'll have to look in the mod. Okay, so these guys ran together. And I can get up here
Move.
for the fight. Alright, so let's do this. Let's do minor illusion. There's all three of them. They won't go out of their way to attack me. I definitely want them dead.
Still in shadow.
And cleave would be a great way to start. Even though it divides it by 3, there's 2 there. So we'll exit turn-based mode. Bring you to here, I guess. Oh, wait, they are aggressive. I'm completely unsure as to why. We should still be okay because they're all wounded.
Gish Devourers. One strike could prove lethal.
Okay. So is this a short rest? It is short rest. Well, what the? Oh, I just kept ticking every 6. That's really dumb. Alright, well this isn't going to go anywhere near as well as I was hoping, so we will start with Lae'zel. Beautiful, that sword is so good. I can't reach either of them, unfortunately. Do I have something to throw? Well, I'm going to take a short rest after this anyway, so we'll go ahead and just... Action Surge. Oh wait, does she not have a short bow actually equipped? Doesn't look like it's actually equipped. Looks like it's another victim of that. Oh, that sucks. But
Nothing important is
I
ever
can
easy.
throw nothing because I put everything in the camp.
Well, so much for peace.
Well, that was ended up being a waste of an action surge. Actually, they're not looking at me. Can I just?
Threat.
If they don't even notice.
No choice but to keep going.
All right, now these two, I don't think they're close enough for a thunder wave. Yeah, I think too far out. But if I were to do the math, 24 hit points, I might be able to...
On I go.
hit. That's 2 and 15.
Swift and lethal.
And then we'll go sleep. Target is out of sight. And oh, I'll have to come to here to do it. Whatever. I'm gonna short rest after this fight anyway. Okay, and that's 2 turns that I have to wait.
Ready.
Short rest. Oh. And I believe this.
Where do I go from here? I'll strike you down.
Stab brain. Heyo.
Perhaps our survival isn't such a distant prospect.
And click. Okay. So there's that fight.